A Roman kid walked into a shop, held up 2 fingers and said, 5 sweets, please.
Welcome to Dad and Me Love History. I'm Dad.
I'm James Letters. Dad and me love a whole lot of history. We could be the greatest team that the world has ever seen. Dad and me love a whole lot of history.
Guess what we're going to be doing today, James?
I don't know.
James, what do you think made the Roman army so awesome?
Because they had good armies, good things, and good food.
Good. That's the sort of thing we're going to be finding out about today. And in fact, we're going to ask the audience some questions here and see if you can spot the answers as we go through our podcast today on why the Romans were so good at fighting. So our first question is, did the Romans prefer to get fishermen or carpenters or deer hunters to join their army? Do you know what a carpenter is?
I forgot.
It's somebody who makes something out of wood. So they might make tools or furniture, lots of different things. Hey, I think you're going to like our second question today, James.
Why did lots of poo make the Roman armies keep marching?
Yeah, we are going to find out why lots of poo made the Romans keep on moving. And our third question:
what were the best Roman army weapons and tactics?
Yeah, we're going to find out all about that as well today. How was the Roman Empire cut in half?
I don't know. How was the Roman Empire cut in half?
With a pair of Caesars. Get it?
Yeah. Funny.
So let's get started. So why were the Romans so good at fighting? Well, to begin with, they weren't. They started off with an army of part-time soldiers. The soldiers had other jobs, but they did some army training occasionally as well. Then around 100 BC, so that's just over 2,100 years ago, the Romans got organised. From then on, all Roman soldiers had to be full-time, so they had lots of time to train and become the best at what they did, which was mainly invading and fighting and killing.
Hola, hola, warning. History is not always nice. Hola, hola.
Yeah, if you want to hear about something nice, it's probably best to tune in to one of our other episodes. Try the ice cream episode. But today, we're answering the question, why were Romans so good at fighting? They made a large army. Any man aged between 17 and 46 could be ordered to join the army. Would you like to be a Roman soldier?
Yes.
In fact, you have been a Roman soldier, haven't you? When were you a Roman soldier? You've got your dressing up kit, haven't you?
Oh yeah, at my birthday party.
That's right, we had Horrible History's birthday party, fantastic TV programme and books about history. And yeah, everyone dressed up as different historical characters, and James was a Roman soldier. Anyway, the Romans wrote an army textbook. It said, a young soldier should be broad-chested, with powerful shoulders and strong arms. He should not have a big belly or a fat bottom. That's exactly what it said in their army handbook. So do you think you would get in the real Roman army?
I'm in the middle of both of them, so maybe.
In the middle of both of what?
The strong and the weak.
Oh, I see. Would I get in?
You're the same as me.
Well, I don't suppose they had too many soldiers who drove mobility scooters in the Roman army like I do. Anyway, now we're getting to the answer to our first question. Did the Romans prefer to get fishermen or carpenters or deer hunters to join their army? What sort of people do you think they preferred?
Deer hunters.
Good. Any idea why?
Because they have weapons, and if they're good at aiming at deer, they're good at aiming at people, because deer are more faster.
That's right. If they were used to hunting deers, they might be able to fight and hunt people. They also like carpenters because they built lots of things. They'd build camps and they'd build bridges and they'd build some big weapons. We'll see some later. So the Romans thought you had to be tough like a deer hunter, but they didn't think fishermen were so tough. I'm not sure if that's fair on fishermen. Anyway, each century, so each 100 Roman soldiers would share a donkey or two to carry their heaviest equipment when they marched across Europe or Africa or West Asia. And they would sleep in big tents made out of leather, which is the skin of cows. And every time they would build an army camp for nighttime, and they would build a ditch and a wall around their camp. Even though they would not be staying in that camp for a long time, they made sure that they would be safe from attack. They wouldn't stay camped in the same place for too long though, because of poo. And that brings us to our second question.
Why did lots of poo make the Roman army keep marching?
Well, do you remember, in cities, the Romans had toilets that you sit down on? Do you remember seeing?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, they didn't have any toilets in their army camps. So let's just say that after a few days of 5,000 people camping in the same place with no toilets, it could become a bit whiffy. So stinky, they would pack up their camp and move on. Even if they didn't have to be anywhere else, they would just move away from all that poo that they just kind of left in the ground.
Here's a Roman maths joke.
What is a forum?
2 plus 2
The Romans were strict with their own soldiers. One writer from Roman times wrote that if a soldier did not obey an order, an officer, like a centurion, would take a baton's like a baseball bat, and they would simply touch a man with it. This is a sign to all the other soldiers that they must stone him or beat him to death. Horrible. The uniform of a Roman soldier would be light so he could move quickly, but it would also give them protection. We'll put a picture up on the website. Can you see, James, anything on his uniform here that would help protect the soldier?
His helmet and his chest armour and his shield.
Yeah, they've got all of those things. So they've got this light kind of body armour in different parts, overlapping parts, so you could move around quite easily, much more easily than a medieval knight would in Europe 1,000 years or more after the Romans. And of course the Romans could march a long way. They had good sandals that would help them to do that. They also practiced different battle formations. The most famous one is the testudo. There's a picture on our webpage. What do you see, James?
A turtle shell.
Yeah, people, what are they holding?
Shields.
Big shields, and you've got the front row holding the shields vertically, and then the second row holding these big shields over everyone's head, and you've got people down the side holding their shields on the side. So when you put it all together, it looks like a turtle or a tortoise, and so testudo is the Latin word for tortoise, so they call it the tortoise formation. So they would go forward, they would walk forward in battle, and if arrows were being fired at them, they'd be well protected. They could walk right up to the walls of a fortress or a castle, get really close without being shot by the arrows because they've got that protection. In fact, the Roman historian Dio Cassius said the roofs of the shields were so strong, men would walk across them. And he wrote that even horses and carriages could be driven across the top if you had enough men holding these shields. Roman soldiers would be taught how to fire a bow and a sling, which is like a kind of a catapult you hold in your hand, and also to throw a javelin like a spear really accurately and a long way. But they also made mechanical weapons, and this is where the carpenters were useful. They made them using a lot of wood. So they had weapons like the ballista, like a kind of a giant crossbow. So the biggest versions of the ballistas would fire an object like a giant spear, and they could fire over 1,000 meters. Yeah, wow.
We love history, baby. We love history. So why was the Roman army so awesome?
Well, the Roman army was so awesome because of a lot of reasons. They ate a good diet, which together with tough training helped make them strong. They were well organised and had powerful weapons, cool tactics, and special tricks, like the tortoise formation. And they were good at avoiding surprise attacks on their army camp, because they moved their army camp often and quickly, mainly because they seemed to poo a lot. Did the ancient Romans hunt bear?
Not in the winter.
Oh, that would be freezing. Well, thank you for listening today. I hope you've learned a lot about the Romans. Say bye, James.
Bye.
Bye. Find us on
Facebook
and Instagram
and Twitter. Please leave us a review on iTunes, but only if you like us, and tell your friends about us. Dad and me love a whole lot of history. We could be the greatest team that the world has ever seen. Dad and me love a whole lot of history.
Oh, my life.
Bye.
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 Bye. Ho ho ho.